distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this moment is special for me because it goes to the heart of what will give our children the future that they deserve. Let me say that I will bring my presentation, which will be as brief as possible. I have written a very significantly long paper, but I shall not read it at all. I will speak to it, and I will speak to it in three parts. And the first part, which I call a preamble, speaks to how I came here and the consequence for the Nigerian economy. The second part is a prologue, which speaks to Ibadan and the place that Ibadan, my growing up in Ibadan, has for the economic challenges we face in Nigeria today. And the third part is the heart of the question of where do we go from here as an economy. Well, let me start by saying that yesterday I started out from Lagos and I went to fill my tank for the drive to Ibadan. And as I was doing that, I was actually reading a report just published by Piggy Vest, the savings report of Nigeria. And that report indicated that about 58% of us earn less than 100,000 naira a month. 58% of the people of this country. And I found that I had just spent nearly 250,000 naira to fill my tank. And as I was reflecting on that, a motorcade just streamed past, about like a 7-car motorcade. And my head just went, that is the monthly salary of 20 people that is going there just to go to Ibadan. Now, if that doesn't show you absurdity, nothing more will. But in looking at that, I began to also think about quality of life in our country, cost of living. We know that Nigerians spend a significant proportion of their resources on food just to keep body and soul together. We have heard from the security experts who came just before me that agriculture is troubled because of security. And so for many of these people, the cost of food is rising. And I look at this groaning, the pain in the land, which you can literally see as you walk on the streets of Nigeria. And I hear people say to me that we must hope that if we give a little more time, hope will return. And I say this is a lie from the very depths of hell. And I do not say that just to express an emotional outburst from the painful realities of now. I take example from Nigerian history. In 1956, there was hardly any industry in Nigeria. Colonial Nigeria did not industrialize Nigeria, understandably, because it was for the export of raw materials to Europe. But by 1956, 1957, self-government came. And young Nigerian men and women who take on the reins of government recognized that their country needed to be industrialized if they were going to provide jobs for people. Within 3 years at independence, and I'm not going to go into all that, you can read Pius Okibo and Nigerian Public Accounts and all of that, manufacturing had gone from next to zero to 20% of GDP. How did they do it? And 3 years after a government, they are telling us to be patient. But I will get to the analysis of that much later. I want to say that what I feel in the lived experiences of people tell me that something is fundamentally wrong with a system that says to poor people, be patient. And those who are saying be patient to them are buying new jets. And those who are saying be patient to them are buying new fleets of cars. And those who are saying be patient while these people are dying are buying yachts. Economic injustice in Nigeria will cripple all of us if we don't do something very quickly. And so that's my preamble, that the conscience is challenged by this reality. And I go to my prologue. My prologue goes to the fact that I had the great privilege of growing up down the road, less than 2-3 miles from here. I went to school here in Ibadan, in a college called Loyola College. And when I was at Loyola College, just as I was finishing, there was a riot, not a riot, there was a demonstration by students at the University of Ibadan. One student, Atiku, was killed by police bullets. For several years, Nigerian students continued to rise, seeking justice for that. And when I arrived at the University of Nigeria in 1973, the first thing that I did was become part of the leadership of protests to get justice for Atiku. Today, children, young people in the universities cannot speak up because they say that every time they come out to express themselves, they are slaughtered by law enforcement agencies. Can this be the same country that we live in? A second point about my time in Ibadan and what we are seeing is that back in those days, we saw Nigeria begin to industrialize, as I said, in 1956-57. And that industrialization provided for all as we grew up. We took it for granted that if you left school, there was a job for you. And I walk around today and young people feel that they will never have a job. I have people who have been out of university 10 years applying for jobs. And now they don't even know what it is to find work. Another thing that my time in Loyola College did to me, and I always remember it, when I see the remarkable secretary of the ADC, is that my mates in class signed.
It's not working, it's still.
Can you hear me now? Thank you. Our gathering here today is an urgent response to an issue to patriotic duty. Who remember us, but when the nation cried out to be rescued, all of us there answered. That when we have the agonies of mothers that just bury their children, bandits, all of us here answered. That when we saw the silent agonies of fathers and husbands and their wives raped by terrorists, all of us here answered. That when children went to bed hungry, all of us here answered. Will ask us, but for one reason or the other, they are physically positive. They call it Nigerian mere opposition slogan. The evidence is there for all of us to see. across the length and breadth of our country, insecurity